serious injuries. Milwaukee police responding to what appeared to be a street takeover Sunday night on the city's south side. A large crowd gathered near 12th and Mitchell after the Puerto Rican festival wrapped up a few blocks away. Video from the scene showed cars revving their engines, people dancing in the streets. Police blocked off several nearby roads. It's unknown if any arrests were made or if there were any injuries. Universities of Wisconsin want public input as they search for a new system president. Search comes after the Board of Regents abruptly fired system president Jay Rothman back in April. To get the hiring process started, the Presidential Search Committee will hold public listening sessions across the state this week. Regent and committee chair Ashok Rai says hearing directly from residents is critical.
It'll help guide a multitude of aspects of the process, from helping to craft the job description to the types of questions we ask candidates.
Public listening session will be held Tuesday on the UWM campus. Hot and stormy weather across southeast Wisconsin. TMJ4 meteorologist Jacob Montesano says expect on and off showers and storms today, but the severe weather chances ramp up later this week.
Here's a look at Wednesday's forecast. We are going to see a line of thunderstorms move across Wisconsin with a very good chance of severe weather in the northwestern portion of the state, and still could see some of that severe weather in southeast Wisconsin. Now, it's likely going to enter our area during the overnight hours Wednesday.
High heat and humidity Wednesday and Thursday could increase the potential for multiple rounds of severe thunderstorms. Time now for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 213 points, NASDAQ up 453, S&P 500 up 80. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather up next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Griffin Ford in Waukesha. Hey, if you've been thinking about a new vehicle, now's the time to take a serious look at Griffin Ford's Ford American Value for American Values employee pricing event. This is great. For a limited time, you pay what employees pay. That's right, employee pricing on a huge selection of new Ford vehicles. Right now, they have 50-plus all-wheel drive Ford Explorers in stock starting at $38,978. How about the 2026 Ford Bronco Sport all-wheel drive? More than 20 in stock, starting at $28,995. And Escape owners get an additional $1,000 off. But what really sets Griffin Ford apart is inventory. Griffin Ford is one of the largest selections of new Ford vehicles anywhere in Wisconsin. That means you're not spending hours searching dealer to dealer or settling for something close to what you wanted. You can choose the color, trim, level, and features that fit your style. It's Griffin Ford in Waukesha. I buy my cars at Griffin. You can also do it online at griffinford.com.
The Brewers' annual Pride Night is coming up Friday, June 12th, and everyone's invited to keep the Pride Month party going at the ballpark, featuring special events highlighting Milwaukee's LGBTQ community, like a local makers market, a national anthem performance by pop duo Reina, and more Pride activities all around American Family Field. This year's Brewers' Pride Night is a party you don't want to miss. Grab your seats today at brewers.com/community nights.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Loziga for Comfort Awnings. My motorized retractable awning is already saving me from that hot summer sun. I love that I can enjoy my patio year-round thanks to Comfort Awnings. I just retract it when I want the sun, extend it when I need the shade. Comfort Awnings even come equipped with sensors that detect rain and strong winds. This year, reclaim your outdoor space for your friends and family to enjoy every season Wisconsin has to offer. Right now, get $450 off any awning or screen. Call 414-AWNINGS or visit comfortawnings.com to learn more.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Knicks Spurs watch party outside Madison Square Garden not happening for tonight NBA Finals Game 3 because President Trump is planning to attend the game. Here's New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch.
The mayor will be hosting a watch party nearby at Bryant Park, and MSG will be hosting 2 watch parties, one at Woolman Rink in Central Park and one at Brooklyn Bowl.
The decision by the NYPD said to be made in coordination with the Secret Service. Brewers completed a road sweep on Sunday. Milwaukee scored 7 runs in the 6th inning to cruise to a 12-4 win over the Colorado Rockies. Brewers will continue their road trip tonight against the A's. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. I-94 east at Hawley Road. We did have a left lane blocked due to a broken down vehicle. That has been moved off the left shoulder. May still be some slowing in that area.
Traffic is sponsored by Capri Communities. Enjoy Life Active Aging Symposium. Visit EnjoyLifeSymposium.com. Live life to the fullest at Capri's Enjoy Life Symposium on Wednesday, June 10th. This free event for older adults includes speakers, exhibitors, activities, and more. Register today at EnjoyLifeSymposium.com.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Stormy forecast for us. Mostly cloudy, rain likely today, heavy at times after a high of 78. A chance of storms again tonight with a low 63. Chance of storms tomorrow, high of 84. Wednesday, hot and humid. Chance of storms early and late in the day. High Wednesday, 92. Rain and storms likely on Thursday. Hot and humid, high of 91. Partly cloudy and 85 Friday. And then a chance of rain again on Saturday, 84 for the high. 71 in Madison, 73 in Green Bay, 70 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Let's start the week by going up front to get the latest on Wisconsin politics statewide with Channel 12 Political Director Matt Smith on Point Taken.
Happy Monday. It is me, Kristen Bry. Steve is off all week. He will be back next Monday. But we got Matt Smith.
Hi. Good morning.
For the full hour he is spending. He's in studio for an hour talking to me about all the things. Because we only had you on the phone last
last
Monday.
week.
Where were you off to last Monday?
A week ago. Oh, I think the Capitol.
Okay.
Yeah.
So plenty to talk about. Let's get right into it. President Trump was in Wisconsin on Friday.
Yeah.
I think it was after our show was already over for the day.
Yep.
I think you were on with Wisconsin's Afternoon News later in the afternoon after the show, after his roundtable. And it wasn't quite a rally, right? It was about 1,000-ish people, you said?
Yeah. And it was billed as a roundtable on farming. So there was the stage and they all sat around. And if you've ever been to an event with President Trump before, it was a lot of him talking. And then the back end was the roundtable. But these are incredibly long days for the people in the audience, for the people there, because you have the massive Secret Service sweeps. You have to get in. You're waiting. So it is a full day event for a roughly hour presentation when the president is actually there.
So it wasn't a rally, but it was around 1,000 people. So all those people were there just to watch the roundtable?
Yeah, they were in the crowd.
Oh, interesting.
To watch and to listen, and quite frankly, to see the president. Right, like these are the president's supporters showing up in the crowd. So he got there mid to late afternoon. He taped the interview with Meet the Press first,
which we'll talk about.
Yes, and then he came on stage and did the roundtable and talked with some folks who were up there, and then he was off.
All right. Well, so let's hear a little bit about what Trump said to the crowd.
We were having record stuff, and then we had to put out a fire. We had to extinguish a nuclear weapon, a capable nuclear. This was going to be a very capable country that was going to have a massive nuclear presence, and we weren't going to let that happen. Nobody wanted that to happen, and we've largely finished that, you'll see. I hope you people are really spiritized, because we're at a point, we're going to come out of Iran very quickly, and it's going to be very strong, one way or the other, whether it's a piece of paper or the very tough way, okay? The very tough way is maybe the easier way, but we're going to come out, and your fertilizer prices are going to go way down, just like they were 4 months ago.
All right, so talked about Iran.
Yeah.
What else did he talk about?
And listen, I mean, there was a lot of talk, and I think he came right out of the gate essentially saying, I hope you all go vote Republican in the midterms. It's clear the administration it has immediately turned its focus to the midterms, while also understanding in however the president delivers it, that there is this issue with Iran, with high fuel prices, with high gas prices, and you hear him here talking to a crowd, and the event was billed as a roundtable on farming, not only here in Wisconsin, but across the country. But the president said something to the effect of good things are going to happen in the next 90 days. And whether that happens or not, we'll have to see. And what those good things are, we'll have to see, right? I mean, more developments in just the past 24 hours. But it was clear the administration was attempting in the prepared remarks to address these concerns that Republicans know are real concerns about the economy and about the impact of Iran.
So it was also interesting because I think as of Friday, we didn't know that this had happened, but obviously as of yesterday, we did. When did the clip come out from his Meet the Press interview?
About him the walking out. That was saved until Sunday, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it, looking back now, having seen that he did the interview and then came out, could you notice that he was visibly...
Well, he made a comment off the top about how he did an interview with NBC, and he did make a comment about the rain and how he got angry because of the rain. And I will tell you, I mean, we're in pole barns, right? So tin roofs, and I will tell you, at times, and you heard it if you listen to the Meet the Press interview, you can clearly hear the rain coming down. And I will tell you, being in one of those barns, it was loud. It was incredibly loud. The event hadn't started yet, but all of us, we were about 80 feet back from the stage. And we're just saying it's going to be really tough to hear these people talk because the rain was so intense at moments.
So we have, if you're unfamiliar with what happened, so there was a very tense exchange on Meet the Press, and we now know that interview was filmed in Wisconsin. So let's play a little bit of what that sounded like between Kristen Walker and President Trump.
Your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked, and so is ABC and CBS and CNN.
But Mr. President,
you're one-sided crooked networks. Right, let's call it quits because I've had enough. Thank you, darling. Have a good time.
Mr. President, let's please. I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
I've sat in the rain with you.
I know.
I've sat in the rain with you for an hour, on and off in the rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press because you know what? A country can never be great with a dishonest
Listen,
press.
we traveled all the way to Wisconsin for this interview.
So there you go. Kristen Welker. Sorry, I said her name.
Yeah. I mean, so you
before.
heard the rain there, right?
Yeah.
This, though, was coming off a conversation about California. And the president did talk about California at when he came on stage as well with the claims that the election results are rigged. And Kristen was pushing back saying, well, this is how it happens in California, that it takes a long time to count, and whether you like that or not, right? I mean, this is the process that's in place. So yeah, he came out on stage moments after that interview ended. Clearly nobody in that room knew at the moment that he essentially walked out on Meet the Press and ended the interview, but he did make a comment right off the top about the rain, how it made him a little angry, and did the interview with NBC. But I will tell you, the rain was intense. Like being there firsthand, it was some heavy downpours, and there were people standing outside. Not everyone got in, and I mean, this speaks. And we'll talk about this in a little bit when we talk about the 3rd Congressional, but this speaks to the control that the president still has over his own party.
Yep.
His supporters will come hell or high water, stand in monsoon-like rains to see him. And we saw that firsthand. I mean, obviously we'll talk about big picture polls, but for his core supporters, and whether we know how big that is or not, they are there.
It's still strong.
Yeah.
And the final thing before we go to a break, Jordan Stoltz was also there. And it's interesting. It's interesting because I don't think he's going to have the same backlash as like a Jackson Dart for having been there, right?
No. And it was one of those lighthearted moments because he had his medals with him. And to be honest, I didn't realize he was on stage initially until they called his name.
Oh.
I mean, I probably wasn't paying attention as closely as I should have been because we're working on our stories and doing everything, as it's late deadline, things are going on. And I'm like, oh my God, there he is. So he walks over and gives a medal to the president, and then he puts it on and he says, I'm not going to give this back to you. And I think everyone for a second was like, wait, is he serious? But at the end, he did give the medal back to Jordan.
All right. He is Matt Smith, political director over at Channel 12. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in the 3rd Congressional District. So stay with us on Point Taken.
Hey, just think about how much your father means to you, or maybe your grandpa. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Father's Day is almost here. Show your love and appreciation. Treat your dad to the all-you-care-to-eat Father's Day buffet at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. It's all your dad's favorites for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, including prime rib and homemade desserts. And kids and grandkids under 3 eat for free. Relax with an old-fashioned, maybe a Bloody Mary, a mimosa. Choose from 120 wines, 8 beautiful dining rooms. Your dad will love that patio in the woods. If Father's Day doesn't work, how about taking your dad to the Fox and Hounds tonight? Buy one dinner, get one free. The Fox and Hounds is hugged by the Kettle Moraine Forest. The summer drive, the views are spectacular. Just off Highway 167 near Holy Hill. Reserve your Father's Day all-you-care-to-eat buffet today. It's far less than what you'll pay anywhere else. Google, call, enjoy a free dinner tonight. Serving from 4 p.m., it's the Fox and Hounds Supper Club, the famous Fox and Hounds.
Wet basements and foundation problems? For over 20 years, Accurate has been the Fix-It Show's trusted experts in foundation repair and waterproofing. Whether it's cracked walls, drain tile issues, or water in your basement, they've got you covered. Don't wait until the problem gets worse. Call Accurate Basement Repair today at 414-744-6900 or visit AccurateBasementRepair.com. They're not just good, they're accurate.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Have you listened to WTMJ Outdoors yet? Well, what are you waiting for? Every Saturday at 2 right here on 620 WTMJ. Stories of the outdoors in Wisconsin and beyond as we celebrate everything in recreation. This week, we visit the beautiful shores of Lake Delavan, Lake Lawn Resort, all the things happening there this summer. We travel with Rose Gray. Fox World Travel, she joins us talking about traveling tips, and we're talking trees, how to keep them healthy this summer.
It's WTMJ Outdoors, presented by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Welcome back to Point Taken, full hour with political director over at Channel 12, Matt Smith. So while you were up in Eau Claire on Friday, you had a chance to talk to Fred Kappus, who is the 3rd Congressional Republican Party chairman?
Of Eau Claire County.
Eau Claire County,
Yeah.
okay. And so you talked to him a little bit about what's happening, because obviously Derek Van Orden is the Republican candidate. He's already current congressman. And once again, Rebecca Cook is trying to unseat him, but first she has to win a primary because it sounds like it's pretty close between her and Emily Berge.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, they're on the other side of the state, so I am not totally up to date with it. But as far as talking to Fred, what did you glean from that conversation?
So it was fascinating to us that in the span of 1 week in the 3rd Congressional, you had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and you had President Trump both making visits that week. And I've heard from a lot of Republicans that a ton of the attention, whether it's visits from the administration or high-level Republicans, there's going to be a ton of people in the 3rd. Because this is a huge congressional district. Democrats nationally are going to pour a ton of money into this. Republicans are going to pour a ton of money in this to try to keep Derek Van Orden in his seat. Democrats trying to unseat him to regain control of the House. So, like, everyone understands, like, this is the heart, at least when you look at congressional races, of what's going to happen in Wisconsin. So we're going to see a ton of attention in that district. Republicans say they feel good, but no, they have challenges, right? Just given history, just given the economy, and however the Democratic primary shakes out, Derek Van Orden is going to need a lot of support, and that is one of the reasons we saw the president there on Friday.
So let's hear a little bit from Fred Kappus.
How strong is the president's support among Republicans in this part of the state?
Oh, it's very strong.
Yeah.
Very strong.
If gas prices remain high, if they're still high in November, do you think that hurts Republicans?
Well, it might. There might be protest votes. You know, people are on the fence, about Republicans that say, well, gas prices are too high, so I'm going to vote for Rebecca Cook or Francesca Hong. Well, that'd be a dumb thing to do, but, whatever, it's your vote. If you want to throw it away, that's fine.
Just that Wisconsin accent is just priceless. I love it.
Yeah.
And so did you have a chance when you were up there to talk to voters at all and get a vibe for what sentiment feels like?
Yeah. I mean, Derek Van Orden got a huge applause when he came out on stage at the Trump rally, or the Trump event, I should say. And there's signs we saw around town. I think Emily Berge has more of a stronghold when you talk about Eau Claire itself. She's a council member. The question is, and what people have told me, is how far does that reach? Rebecca Cook has run several times, as we know. So
and a very good fundraiser.
Yeah. And so she has a better name ID, people would say, across the whole district as a whole. Because the 3rd Congressional is a big district.
Yeah,
like
it's
massive.
only 2nd to 7th, right?
Yeah,
as far
like
as
you
land
go all the way down
space.
to La Crosse and Eau Claire and out east a little bit. So yeah, I mean, it is a big area to
Yeah, because it
cover.
goes all the way into Wisconsin Rapids, where my parents are, into Wood County.
So I mean, it's a big district, and I think the fact that you're seeing already campaign stops, it just shows how high profile it is for the U.S. House.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because how much, we obviously haven't, we've had polling come out as far as what President Trump's approval rating is. And beyond that, when I was up in Cameron, Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, it was anecdotal, right? As far as I'm saying, I feel like I see less signs than I used to, but like you can't really measure that as far as how people are feeling about the presidency.
And in the 3rd Congressional, this comes from the latest Marquette poll, which is March. But the Trump's approval in that part of the state is a little higher than it is statewide. It was about 49% as a whole in the western and northwestern part of the state. But Republicans acknowledge, and Fred acknowledged this, that their biggest challenge for Republicans is to get people to the polls when Donald Trump isn't on the ballot. Republicans statewide have had that problem. They'll fully acknowledge it, and they know that is one of their biggest challenges headed into November.
Because also, I mean, I can't, because I don't have a photographic memory, but how did those counties look for the Supreme Court race? And I know it's a very different race, but if you think about conservative voter motivation and how little of it we saw in April, how much do you think you can glean that going into the midterms for that part of the state?
Chris Taylor won the 3rd.
I know.
It wasn't, I forget the exact ratio. It wasn't by a massive amount, but she won it, right?
Because this is also the part of the state that has changed the most since Obama, right?
Yeah.
As far as like, definitely those are the counties that were Obama Trump voters.
Yep. And when you look back at 2024, Trump obviously won the 3rd Congressional. His margin was just, it wasn't massive, but it was a little larger than Derek Van Orden and Rebecca Cook. Right?
Which was 3 points?
Yeah. So Republicans say this visit by Trump, more visits by Trump, they believe will be and need to be instrumental in mobilizing voters to get their attention and to actually get those Republican Trump voters to the polls who have not voted in other elections.
All right. Well, certainly something to watch. Stay with us. Matt Smith is here all hour on Point Taken.
Meet Jim and Rita.
We went on a motorcycle trip.
But somewhere in Wyoming, Jim and Rita were in a serious accident.
They blocked off the interstate and everything and took us to the hospital.
Sometime later, Rita made a discovery.
She had noticed that the bracelet was gone. And I asked the trooper, is there a chance we can go out there and see if it's still there?
And amazingly,
he found a couple of pieces.
It was only 2 tiny links of the bracelet.
Jim was determined to buy Rita another bracelet from Kessler's.
And I had my checkbook in my hand.
But when he arrived there,
and I said, okay, how much? And she says, that's part of our warranty.
Jim and Rita discovered the Kessler's miraculous no small print warranty.
It's just amazing that you guys do this.
And it's true.
If you bought it at Kessler's, it's guaranteed. It's just that simple.
It surely is miraculous.
Read the Kessler's miraculous no small print warranty yourself at Kessler'sDiamonds.com.
Shopping for new windows and doors shouldn't feel like a negotiation. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin doesn't believe in games. They never inflate pricing, and there's no high-pressure sales pitch. Just premium windows and doors built for long-term comfort, beauty, and peace of mind. Buy direct through Pella, and one trusted team handles everything with Pella certified installers every step of the way. Real pricing, premium quality, no games. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
You know, Dad, there are a lot of things that make Marty's Pizza special.
Well, you got our untouched original recipe for our pizza sauce, and we have our own sausage made for us with our own recipe. We make everything fresh. Our own meatballs, our lasagna, our dough every day. We cut our vegetables fresh every day.
It's a labor of love.
This is Dick the Dad.
And James the Son from Marty's Pizza in Delafield.
Find out what keeps our loyal customers coming back for generations.
Right off I-94 and Highway 83 in Delafield.
Remember Marty's Pizza.
Do you remember when times were good? Well, they're good again. It's as good today as it was was in the past. It doesn't get any better than that. Remember Marty's Pizza.
Right off I-94 and Highway 83 in Delafield.
Vince Vitrano here. That feeling after an incredible performance, applause, emotion. You look around and realize everyone just experienced something unforgettable together. UPAF makes those moments possible, supporting local performing arts organizations and arts education programs throughout our community. The arts don't just entertain us, they connect us. Join me in supporting UPAF's annual campaign. New or increased gifts of $1,200 or more matched by Northwestern Mutual. Donate today at upaf.org.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristen Bry. Steve is off this week. He will be back on Monday. We have Matt Smith, political director over at Channel 12, here with us for the full 10 o'clock hour. We've got a couple minutes before the bottom of the hour news. So let's wrap up our third congressional district happenings. So also happening on Friday ahead of President Trump's visit, one of the candidates for governor from the Democratic ticket, probably the person I would imagine least likely to host a protest, was hosting a protest, or at least leading a protest, which was Missy Hughes, who is from the 3rd Congressional District. Like, this is her part of the state. Did you guys visit the protest at all? Do we know how many people showed up? Was it effective?
No, we were not there ourselves. When you go to these presidential events, and this is any president, you're locked in for a very long period of time. You have to get through the security sweep.
As all Knicks fans will find out tonight.
Yes. So you're really locked into that event. So I didn't get a firsthand look of that. So I know she joined some protesters at the airport. There were some protesters as close as they could get out to the site, out at the farm. But it's curious to see how these candidates are responding. Mandela Barnes was up in the area a couple days before Trump's visit, talking with farmers himself, and obviously painting a contrast to what farmers were telling the president, just in terms of the economy. I mean, it's fascinating just to see how these candidates are attempting to take on Trump in their own way.
And I just thought, I mean, it was nothing, it's not a criticism. It's more of just thinking about, I think it's not a stretch to say Missy and Joel are two of the more moderate candidates. And so when you think about leading a protest, you're more likely to think Francesca Hong and not Missy. And so, but obviously, like in the attempt to continue to get your name out there and have people talking about you, it's not a bad strategy.
And you've seen all of them in some degree, to different levels, come out against Trump because they know they have to win over the base as they go to the primary. But the question is, and I know the governor has wrestled with this as well, is like, there are instances where you have to work with the Trump administration, and you need the Trump administration, whether it be for federal assistance, for flooding, or what have you. So, I mean, there is this weird balance that has to happen.
Absolutely. All right. Plenty more to get to, including governor race updates. So stay with us. He's Matt Smith. I'm Kristen Bry, and news is next.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Target is recalling certain baby wipes because of potentially deadly bacteria. ABC's Sherry Preston has details.
Testing of Up and Up fragrance-free and cucumber-scented baby wipes uncovered the presence of 2 types of bacteria. In adults, the bacteria can cause infections that can lead to skin and eye irritations. However, in infants and small children whose immune systems aren't fully developed, the bacteria can enter the bloodstream, possibly causing sepsis or pneumonia.
Iran and Israel each say they're halting fire at the other. The two sides had exchanged fire over the weekend, even after President Trump told them not to. It's the first time this has happened since the U.S. ceasefire in April. Tonight, the president's set to attend Game 3 of the NBA Finals at New York's Madison Square Garden. That's created a major security operation at the arena. The Department of Agriculture says 2 more cases of New World screwworm have been found in Texas, where experts are worried about the potential risks to the nation's beef supply. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:31. I'm Connie Weber. The Wisconsin Center District Board votes to fire CEO Marty Brooks with cause. The board met for just over 2 hours in closed session before voting on the matter. Brooks' employment was the only item on the board's agenda. Tension between Brooks and the board comes over a study Brooks commissioned that recommended replacing the Miller High Life Theater with a convention center hotel. Board Chairman James Cantor will serve as the district's interim chief of staff. Trial date is set in the death of a Two Rivers toddler. Katrina Katrina Bauer, mother of 3-year-old Elijah Vu and her boyfriend Jesse Vang, scheduled for trial in July of 2027. The toddler was reported missing in February of 2024. His skeletal remains were found by a deer hunter in northeast Wisconsin 7 months later. Bauer charged with felony child neglect resulting in death. Vang faces the same charge, along with felony child abuse and hiding a corpse. Both have pled not guilty. Motorcycle crash in the town of Jefferson leaves one person dead, another hurt. 2 people were on the motorcycle when it crashed near Highway 18 and Bakertown Road Saturday night around 7:45 p.m. Sheriff's office says the driver traveled onto the gravel shoulder of Highway 18 and was trying to get back onto the road but was unable to recover. One person died at the scene. The other went to the hospital. That person's condition is unknown. Time for news about your money with the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow was up 51 points, 50,918. NASDAQ up 354, 26,064. S&P 500 up 55 points at 7,439. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Watch out for some debris on the ramp from Good Hope Road to I-43 South. No other major snags to report this hour. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Mostly cloudy, rain likely today. Some of it could be heavy. High today 78. Then a chance of storms again overnight with the low 63. Chance of storms tomorrow. Warm and humid, a high of 84. Hot and humid on Wednesday with storm chances early in the day and late in the day. High Wednesday 92. Rain and storms likely Thursday. Hot and humid with a high 91. Partly cloudy Friday, high 85. And a chance of rain Saturday with a high of 84. 72 in Madison, 74 in Green Bay, 70 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:34.
When we were kids on the farm growing up, there was a wheat, Yellow Rocket, but we always slanged it mustard.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
Dad didn't want the mustard on the farm.
No.
It was kind of invasive. Dad would just have us pick them. We would go in through the hay fields and we'd walk in the hay fields and we'd pick those fields clean. And he paid us a penny a plant.
Yeah.
Somebody had seen the story about us picking mustard.
One of the people that was submitting names.
One of the people
for
who
the
was submitting
contest.
names for the contest submitted the name Penny Mustard. Actually, 2 people submitted that name.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of crazy names submitted.
Gosh be darn, who's Furniture Barn? I remember that was one submission we had.
When we narrowed it down to 50 names or so, we kind of just looked at it and I'm like, there it is. This is it. It's Penny Mustard.
It was glaringly obvious to us.
See more at pennymustard.com.
In hindsight, I'm not sure if Dad cared about the mustard or he just wanted to keep us busy.
Yeah. In hindsight, I think he wanted to keep us busy.
Smart.
You know, I mean, your home is about as personal as it gets, right?
We want to build a relationship with homeowners, not only educating them, but we're getting to know them and allowing them an opportunity to get to know us.
Yeah, the interview goes both ways.
Mhm.
Getting to know people while also serving them. It's so much more than just, okay, we're replacing your roof.
Besides that, it's just the right thing to do. See how Big Fish Contracting is renovating homes and redeeming an industry at bigfishcontracting.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scafidi.
And Kristen Bry of Point Taken.
Kristen, did you know that only 40% of Americans have done any estate planning and only 40% of those have been properly updated?
When it comes to wills, trusts, and probate, there's a lot at stake. I needed someone who specializes in estate planning. At Walney Legal Group, that's all they do.
No intimidating lawyers. They just provide customized, friendly, easy experience. They call it lawyering the way it should be. So whether you need your estate planning reviewed
or just getting started, visit WALNYlegal.com. Welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristen Bry. Steve is off for the week. We got Matt Smith here for the rest of the half hour talking about all things Wisconsin politics and reporting. All right, so the 2 big things I want to talk about before you leave.
Yeah.
Let's start with continued.
I know what you're going to talk about.
Are we talking about? I don't know. Do we call it fall? Like it's hilarious to me how long this story has lasted when it comes to like a bill. Like to me, it's not like a super sexy topic, and it is because everyone's struggling. But it is funny, like this is going on, what, a month?
Close.
5 weeks?
Yeah.
As far as how often you've been on here, and we're talking about the fallout from the property tax surplus bill falling apart. And so since when we had you on the phone last week, Voss had just been on your show.
Yes.
And now we have continued clips and conversations that you've had in the last week.
And the last week was really fascinating because you're right. Voss came on the show a week ago from Sunday. and
Eager
said,
to talk.
Let's go. Yeah. Yes. Very eager to talk. On Monday, I talked with the Senate's top Democrat, Dianne Hesselbein, and she said, absolutely no way. The Senate's not coming back in. I talked to the Majority Leader, Devin LeMahieu. We're not doing it. A few days later.
She also was like, if there was changes, we would think about it, but he's not. It sounds like there's no openness to changes from what the bill was.
Then on Thursday, Devin LeMahieu came out and said, no, we're going to come in if we can get 2 votes flipped. And he really targeted more so the 15 Senate Democrats. There were 3 Republicans who voted against it as well and said, no, if we get 2 votes to flip, we will definitely come back in and we pass it. So clashing between the Senate's top Democrat and the governor still last week, all over this deal that just imploded in the state Senate.
So let's hear a little bit, because we have a clip from both what Hesselbein said to you guys, but also Evers not mincing words either.
What do you make of the governor saying this was a bad move for Democrats?
Well, the governor is certainly entitled to his position. And what I've said before, and I will say it again, Governor Evers is a good man. Governor Evers is a really great governor. We just disagree on this one issue. One issue out of like 99%, 100% of what we tried to get done. And we'll move on.
My guess is it's going to be no way, because she controls, who's going to be head of the Joint Finance Committee on the Senate side. And I'm sure she's given promises there. She gives promises just like other leaders do. I haven't spent a lot of time doing that, but that's what happens in the legislature. And I'm sure she's got people wrapped around her finger by giving them jobs that they want.
Like I said, Evers not mincing words as far as, but that is, I mean, in her defense, that is how you whip votes, right? Is like you have power over their career to a certain extent when you are a minority or majority leader, and that's the leverage that you have. And so because you also asked Hesselbein her reaction to the poll that came out, and what did she say about that?
She said, listen, I mean, we understand people's concerns, and Democrats, especially in the Senate, have kept going back to the potential for a projected deficit from this deal, a structural deficit. That report from the Fiscal Bureau does incorporate 0 economic growth over the next couple years.
Which rarely.
Yeah, that hasn't happened
doesn't really
since
happen.
The recession, 2008, 2009.
But we don't know,
Yeah, so like we don't know, yes, but historically speaking, right? So that has been their talking point. And the question is and people we've talked to is does that resonate to voters? And how much of an issue, if any, will this be come November, depending on what gas prices are, what the economy is, what fuel prices are? Property taxes are going to be a huge debate, I think, in this governor's race and probably legislative races. And it'll be curious to see if any of these, especially state Senate candidates, if they really try to hold on to these votes in these races. Because at least as of now, it doesn't appear that anyone's going to flip, which means no one's going to come back and revote. And time is ticking on that, too. We're already in June. So
for some of the Democrats who are in these really competitive Senate races, so I think of which one, I'm forgetting the numbers, but there's like 4 or 5 that are tight,
really
and there's also a lot of them don't have an incumbent.
Yeah.
Do you think for a Democrat who's running to take this seat or flip this seat, is this like a talking issue for them? Like, is that how pertinent this thing is for them to campaign on? I would have voted yes, because they don't obviously have a voting record because they're not in there right now. Like, is that where we're at with how important this deal was, that people who are on the running, that they're talking about it while they're talking to constituents? Or is it really just, I'm still convinced that it's a lot of political people talking about this versus the average voter.
It could be, and it has taken on a life of its own in the political world for sure. The question is, I think when people hear the top lines, right, like rebate checks, property tax relief, no tax on tips for overtime for service workers, more money for special education funding, right? Like and the Marquette poll showed this, right? Like when you lay it out like that, everyone was like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you pass that, right? I mean, so there's deeper concerns for those who voted no for different reasons. You had some of the governor candidates weigh in. So like, that's why I think this has lived on for as long as it has, because so many people got involved. and it imploded in such dramatic fashion that you don't see these votes cross party lines like they did, or a deal by the Democratic governor and Republican leaders negotiated and introduced as if they were fully confident it was just going to pass through the legislature. We would sign it and we would move on and everyone would claim a victory ahead of November.
Well, it is kind of interesting. What do you make of the fact that that LeMahieu couldn't flip Hutton or Steve Nass, considering they're not running again?
Yeah, and I've had
what do they have to lose or gain?
We had Chris Kapica on the show, and I've had a number of people who said for sure Kapica and Nass were never a yes vote.
Okay.
So who you believe on this story, I guess, is who you believe, right? Like Kapica told us he was never a yes vote and told him that. Republican leaders, and the governor said they were fully convinced that they had the votes. So whoever said what to indicate that those votes were there, clearly that was not right or misguided or what have you, or they were just based on assumptions, right? Maybe LeMahieu assumed that the Republicans would get on board. Maybe the governor's team assumed that a couple Democrats in the Senate would vote, right? So like whatever the calculations were, it didn't work out that way. And that's the fascinating thing of politics, right?
That's the thing when you assume.
Keeps us sure does. Keeps us talking how many weeks later.
Exactly. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about status with the governor's race, who's on the ballot, who's not on the ballot, what's left in the next 2 months, almost exactly 2 months, until the primary. So keep it here with Matt Smith and me, Kristen Bry, on Point Taken.
Father's Day is coming up, and let's be honest, Dad doesn't need another tie. Give him something he actually wants. New windows that lower energy bills, a durable new roof, beautiful siding, or a bath remodel he can brag about to every guest who visits. And during the Exterior Pros and Baths June savings event, you'll get $3,000 off your project. That's $3,000 in instant savings, but only for a limited time. Call 262-800-4274 or visit extpros.com today. Exterior Pros and Baths. Big savings done right.
Hi, it's Kristen Bry from Point Taken on 620 WTMJ. You know, in radio, you really only hear my voice, although we do have the YouTube stream where you can always watch it. But really, when I'm out in the community, meeting listeners or hosting events, I'm told that my smile is my signature. And that's why I trust Dr. James Michaels and the team at Economawalk Dental Care with my smile. Yes, I drive all the way from Milwaukee to Economawalk to see Dr. Michaels and his incredible staff. Because when you find a dental team that makes you feel comfortable, listened to, and cared for, that drive is worth it. Dr. Michaels has been practicing in Economawalk for more than 25 years, and his approach is simple. Treat people the way that you want to be treated. So whether you're due for a cleaning, thinking about a cosmetic option, or just need a dental home where you feel at ease, call Economawalk Dental Care at 262-567-7224. Economawalk Dental Care with Dr. James Michaels, the team I trust with my smile.
Dave Spano, CEO of Annex Wealth Management.
We have a contractual agreement that we give our clients, this fiduciary standard of care. We also say fee-only fiduciary. So a lot of people are kind of twisting it these days and saying, I'm a fiduciary some of the time. I call them part-time fiduciaries. And that's the reason why we say fee-only fiduciary. That means we do not accept commissions.
Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Click Get Started at annexwealth.com.
It's WTMJ's Debbie Lazaga for Car Edge. The stress of car buying is finally a thing of the past. Car Edge negotiates with local dealerships for you, keeping your personal info private. With an average of 20-plus years of dealership experience, Car Edge experts know every trick in the book, saving you time and money. No sales calls, no wasted hours playing games at a dealership, just the best deal on the car you want. WTMJ fans get 20% off. Call 414-667-7413 or visit caredge.com/WTMJ for a free, no-obligation consultation today.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Hey, it's Monday. Don't cook. Buy one pizza today at the Mine Shaft Family Restaurant in downtown Hartford. Get a second pizza free. Free free. Bring in pizza today for your loyal employees. Order now. Pick up your free pizza shortly. Just call the Mine Shaft.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I'm Kristen Bry. We're talking to Matt Smith for 2 more segments before we let him get on with his day, reporting over at Channel 12, political director. All right, so last last week. I don't think papers were due yet. Had papers been turned in yet for all the candidates?
No.
No.
June 1st. Well, Monday was the deadline. June 1st.
Monday at 5 was the deadline. So since then, we know for the governor's race, at least for the Democrats, Brett Halsey did not make the ballot.
Correct.
Zach Roper?
I believe yes. The
He did- he
Republican,
get-
yes.
No, that's
I'm sorry.
That's Andy Mance.
Yes, yeah. Zach Roper, no.
Zach
no.
Roper did not.
And yes, dropped out.
And
Said
then
yes.
Kirk Bangstad did not. He had a bunch of papers that had the wrong date on it.
Yeah.
I know that I saw, I think you maybe retweeted it, a fiery exchange he had with my colleagues over at the Journal Sentinel, who reported that he would not be on the ballot. And he had an expletive for them as far as he had time still to cure some of his papers to still try to get on. Do we think he's going to be able to get that done?
We'll find out tomorrow when the Elections Commission finalizes the ballots and looks at all of that. From people I've talked to, it appears unlikely, just based on the number of issues that were found. And the Election Commission found that he only had like 1,500 valid signatures. You need at least 2,000. People get more than that. You can gather between 2,000 and 4,000 just to be safe. He didn't even meet the 2,000 threshold based on the Election Commission criteria and just some of the issues you pointed out, wrong dates. We've seen his Facebook posts kind of outlining his process of how he's tried to get in touch with people, with some of the signature gatherers, like listing names of people he needs to find and get in contact with. So we'll find out tomorrow. And that appears, big picture, there haven't been any challenges to any of the major candidates on the ballot. There were some challenges in the 7th Congressional. Those will be heard the following day because...
For the Republicans or for the Democrats?
Yes, for the Republicans.
Okay.
And I don't know specifically all of those, exactly what all the details are in terms of what signatures are challenged or where and what papers. But there was an extension on that, so those will be the next day. But for what the commission has to do tomorrow, it appears all the major candidates for governor beyond Kirk Bangstad will be on the ballot.
I don't know if we ever wanted to really call him a major candidate.
For anyone who did.
And then I think notably in the first, Randy Bryce, Iron Stash, did not get on. Did that field narrow at all? Because I know there's like 8 or 9 Democrats trying to run in that race.
Yes,
Besides that one, was there anyone else who didn't make it?
No, there were 3 that made it, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, that's
right?
it?
3 in the first, I believe. You can fact check me
Sorry,
later.
I'm putting
and
you
then
on the
can,
spot.
No, I believe it was 3. Yeah, you can look later and then tell me how wrong I was.
Okay,
but I believe it was
pretty
3
soon.
in
Does
the
that mean that
first.
people should be able to go to myvote.wi.gov as like next week to be able to see what's on their ballot come
Yeah,
August
I mean,
11th?
it's going to be finalized tomorrow.
Okay,
yeah, the
perfect.
Election Commission meets Tuesday to finalize ballots. And yeah, we're off to the races now.
You're off to the races. So you should check your registration, which you can do at myvote.wi.gov. You can check your ballot pretty soon of who you have for a primary in your district. So as we approach that, we'll have more nonpartisan voting information because it is important for you to get out and vote, even in primaries. All right, let's take one more break and we come back. There was a Wisconsin Democrats convention this weekend.
There is.
So we'll ask Matt what he will be looking for at the convention this weekend because there's going to be a straw poll.
Is that a question or a statement?
It's a question, right? That there's going to be like the Democrats are going to vote for their own.
Let's do it.
All right.
You can go do a straw poll. How about?
Yeah, sure. All right. We'll talk about that on the other side of this.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here for Griffin Ford in Waukesha. Hey, if you've been thinking about a new vehicle, now's the time to take a serious look at Griffin Ford's Ford American Value for American Values employee pricing event. This is great. For a limited time, you pay what employees pay. That's right, employee pricing on a huge selection of new Ford vehicles. Right now, they have 50-plus all-wheel drive Ford Explorers in stock starting at $38,978. How about the 2026 Ford Bronco Sport all-wheel drive? More than 20 in stock starting at $28,995. And Escape owners get an additional $1,000 off. But what really sets Griffin Ford apart is inventory. Griffin Ford is one of the largest selections of new Ford vehicles anywhere in Wisconsin. That means you're not spending hours searching dealer to dealer or settling for something close to what you wanted. You can choose the color, trim, level, and features that fit your style. It's Griffin Ford in Waukesha. I buy my cars at Griffin. You can also do it online at griffinford.com.
ACS Group has business technology from James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. ACS Group's IT manager, Mark Reinhardt.
I feel James Imaging Systems, being local, I get to meet the people, see the people. They come in and find out what our needs are, and they're just great folks.
Great folks who partner with you and your business.
Absolutely. I categorize James Imaging Systems as a partner because they come in, again, sit down, understand our needs, listen to what things are bothering us, obstacles that we have, and they help bring us really cost-effective solutions.
James Imaging Systems, AI-driven workflow automation, security enhancements, digital transformation, and business technology expertise to help your business do business better.
That's huge for me and keeps us running smoothly, and we're able to focus on other things for this business.
James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 262-781-7700 or visit jamesimaging.com.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. You know, it's been more than 3 years since we got our garage door from J.D. Griffiths, and it still looks brand new. I'm telling you, it's quiet, it's smooth, and honestly, I didn't realize how much of a difference a quality door would make until we upgraded. J.D. Griffiths, they've been doing it for decades. They're local, trusted, and they handle everything. Try the website, jdgriffiths.com/WTMJ. Schedule your free consultation from J.D. Griffiths.
Epic parties start at Staples. Now you can grab Party City balloons, decorations, and tableware, plus matching custom invites, banners, and more right at Staples. That was easy.
Are you hosting an event, launching something new, wanting to get the word out about your part of the state? Be a featured guest on the WTMJ Experience Wisconsin show. Share your story, promote your event or business, and connect with fans all across the state. I'm John Merkier. I'd love to interview you. We reach listeners from Milwaukee to Madison, Green Bay to La Crosse, everywhere in between. It's Experience Wisconsin. Ready to shine a spotlight on your business or company? Email me, john@WTMJ.com for more information. john@WTMJ.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, Matt Smith, what else you got coming up this week?
Well, we'll look ahead to the convention next week, this upcoming weekend, State Democratic Convention in Madison. There'll be several things that will be kind of curious to watch, right? So you'll hear from all the candidates. We'll see the reception. It'll be curious to see the reception of the candidates.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the governor will speak. This will be his last time at a state Democratic convention, last time as governor. And going back to our previous conversation with tax relief, it'll just be fascinating to see the reception that the governor receives. I'm sure it's going to be warm, right? Unless, I don't know, is it?
I don't know. That's what I mean. You've talked to more of these people in person. As far as, will it just be kind of like a waspy Thanksgiving dinner where everyone just pretends everything's fine? Because it clearly behind the scenes is a little tense.
Yeah. It is. I think Democrats will, I would assume, look big picture, right? Yeah. And I think the message they're going to try to relay is the governor who stood up to the Republican legislature, and whether it be blocked legislation or worked together on agreements or passed whatever. I think they're going to attempt to highlight those stories as opposed to the politics of the day. But we'll see. And the governor has said he's not going to endorse. Maybe he'll offer an endorsement at the convention.
Because there was also questions like, how much is he going to, once we know the Democratic candidates up and down the ballot, how much will he actually help with campaigning?
Well, he told me in our interview after the tax relief deal failed that a lot of them may not even want him on the campaign.
Do you think that's true?
I don't know.
He's still popular.
I think according to Marquette, he's the most popular politician in the state right now.
More than Tammy Baldwin?
I believe so.
Okay.
I think U.S. senators' name IDs go down when they're not up for re-election, which is kind of fascinating, right? That's a whole different story to talk about, right?
Like, I love how there's always, despite both of our senators, senior and junior, being in seat for over a decade now.
Yeah.
There's still always that small group that still doesn't have enough information to have an opinion.
Right.
On
So I think when you look at favorable and unfavorable, according to the latest polling, Evers is the most. So
favorable.
It'll be curious to see if he's right. He's not a political animal, right?
No.
Like he's not rallying around on the campaign trail, right? Like so, like
he's also like
we'll
ready
have
to
see.
retire. It seems like, as far as he's ready to hang out with his grandkids and not deal with maybe some of the BS that you have to when you're in that position.
So yeah.
And then the final thing was because I know last big governor's race, 2018, when Evers obviously won, WisPolitics had done a straw poll, and Kelda actually won that back then. So it'll be interesting to me if WisPolitics does another straw poll, and it may give us a little bit more of insight, or maybe not, because Kelda obviously didn't win in 2018. But as far as the sentiment
among insiders,
of people who are definitely going to be voting in August, if that is surprising, or if we continue to see what Joe Zepecki thinks is that Mandela is the front runner, or what the polls have said, which is Fran is the front runner. So should be interesting. We'll have you back on Monday to give us all of the details. Thank you so much, Matt
Enjoy
Smith.
the week. It
Enjoy the
was
week.
a fast hour.
It always goes pretty fast, but thanks for being here with me. All right, we'll be back with Brian Jacobson to talk about IPOs and the market after the news.
It's time for the Monday Makeover. I am Sandy Max, happy to be back at Merle Norman and MN Salon in Brookfield with the owner, Renee. And you said something to me recently that I absolutely love. Healthy looking skin never goes out of style.
That is absolutely right. But in order to stay healthy, we have to follow certain protocols. And one of them is staying out of the sun, which is really hard to do this time of year.
How do I get that balance of that summer vibe, but still taking care of my skin?
Technically, tan skin is damaged skin. And now in my 60s, I'm starting to see some of the results of me over tanning. But we can achieve that sun-kissed look pretty easily with makeup without it looking heavy. Bronzer is going to be your best friend, but bronzer needs to be used properly. Too often people take bronzer and they put it all over their face thinking, well, now my face looks tan. What we want to do is control how the light is hitting our face. And so where the sun would hit your face is where we want to apply bronzer. So a really good little tip to start is to make a W in the center of your face. And you're going to catch all those high points in the center of your face. And then just counteract that with a highlighter on the top of the cheekbone and then in the center of your face. So you're going to get this really nice balance of glow. We have some new colors coming out with our summer color collection in bronzers and highlighter, give you all kinds of options of how you want your bronze to look.
What I love is anybody can walk in to your salon and you'll say, hey, come on over, and really talk to someone about what they're comfortable with and see their skin tone and help them achieve the summery vibe that you're looking for.
Exactly. And they can try it on before they buy it. You're going to know exactly what to do with it and what best applicators to use to apply it. And then our favorite setting spray afterwards to keep it all fresh when you're out in the sun. We have these great lip oils. They're 99% plant-based, so they're really natural, really good and nourishing on the lips. Come in and get some bronzer and get some lip oil and be ready to rock on.
Call Merle Norman or book online at mnsalonbrookfield.com.
Hey, better. Swing into Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee for the $300,000 Big League Series. Just play with your rewards card over 3 months to earn entries. Here's the lineup. Leading off April, on deck May, in the hole June. All monthly entries you earn will roll into drawings on Friday, June 26th, where you could win cash, free play, or one of 3 new Toyota vehicles. It's the $300,000 Big League Series, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
Classic feeling. Your home is failing. Windows are old, roof looks horrible, siding is distressed. Even your front door fights you on everything. Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited, and I will be on the Fix It Show this Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. 1 hour where you get to call in and ask about your failing home and how the professionals at Siding Unlimited can help you. Can't wait until Saturday? Bring your pictures to our Siding Unlimited showroom and let's chat. Start your home updating journey with Siding Unlimited at sidingunlimited.com.
Class is in session with straight A's only for this crew.
First pitch to Bowers, and Bowers into left, deep. Johnston's back at the track, gone! Jake Bowers, number 11.
The Brewers head to Vegas to take on the Athletics.
And how about 5 homers tonight for the crew?
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 8:30. We are the home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
11:01, we have 69 degrees, mostly cloudy today with rain likely, some heavy at times. High today 78. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. The Wisconsin Center District Board votes to fire CEO Marty Brooks with cause. Board met for just over 2 hours in closed session before voting on the matter. Board member and Milwaukee Alderman Bob Bauman cites misappropriation of funds as the reason given by the board for the firing. Board Chairman James Cantor will serve as the district's interim chief of staff. A Wisconsin Senate committee escalating its dispute with Attorney General Josh Kaul and the Department of Justice. Republican lawmakers have issued a second request for records tied to DOJ relationships with outside organizations and attorneys funded by outside groups. Earlier this year, the Senate Oversight Committee accused the DOJ of sidestepping state procedures when it partnered with fellows from NYU's State Impact Center. Kaul has rejected those claims, noting the Wisconsin Ethics Commission found the arrangement legal. In the California primary, it's been a week since the final votes were cast, but officials still counting the ballots in the race for mayor of Los Angeles. ABC's Trevor Ault with the latest.
California, 80% of votes are mail-in, and there are still many more votes that are still coming in. We don't exactly know how many more are left, but based on the trends we're seeing, we are likely going to have a runoff election in November in Los Angeles between two Democrats, Karen Bass and Nithya Raman.
Republican reality TV star Spencer Pratt now slipping to third place. Ukraine says Russian drone strikes hit a nuclear fuel storage facility near Chernobyl. Officials say radiation levels are stable. Ukraine responding with its own drone strikes. ABC's Ian Pannell says analysts say the war may be entering a new phase.
Ukraine made its presence felt, striking twice in a matter of 4 days there. And then, of course, we've seen ongoing Russian strikes inside Ukraine. Russia striking that nuclear dump, the storage depot inside the Chernobyl site. Remember, that was the nuclear power plant that exploded 40 years ago now. But there is still nuclear material, spent fuel, that is stored there, and that's what they hit.
In the Middle East, President Trump calling on Israel and Iran to immediately stop shooting after the two countries traded attacks over the past days. The renewed attacks have threatened an already tenuous ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran. Trial date is set for a mother and her boyfriend in the death of a Two Rivers toddler.
Katrina Bauer and Jesse Vang are scheduled for trial in July 2027. They've pled not guilty to felony charges after 3-year-old Elijah Vu was reported missing in February of 2024. His skeletal remains were found by a deer hunter in northeastern Wisconsin 7 months later. Bauer is charged with child neglect resulting in death. Vang faces the same charge, along with child abuse and hiding a corpse. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
A Milwaukee landmark is getting statewide recognition.
The Wisconsin Historical Society has added the Mitchell Park Domes to the State Register of Historic Places. The domes were designed in the 1960s, creating a one-of-a-kind structure that blends concrete, glass, and aluminum into the unique shape visitors recognize today. State historians say the domes represent a major achievement in engineering and modern architectural design and continue to serve as one of Milwaukee's most recognizable destinations. Neil Doyle, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 79 points, NASDAQ up 380, S&P 500 up 60. Financial planning at every level, Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
Mark Olson here. Now is the time to declare your independence from the outdated kitchen during the Redo Cabinets 4th of July event. Redo Cabinets, where hundreds of homeowners have discovered the benefits of refacing old kitchen cabinets, celebrates America's 250th birthday. Redo Cabinets, where you'll find premium cabinet facings made here in the USA, and you could choose from dozens of colors, various hardware, and accessory selections. During the Redo Cabinets 4th of July celebration, get $1,776 off your entire cabinet project and a free backsplash, and no payments for 12 months. That's right, no payments until 2027. Incredible savings. Call us today for a free, no obligation consultation. Redo Cabinets, 414-677-6417. That's 414-677-6417. Or visit us online at redocabinets.com. Don't replace it, redo it with Redo Cabinets.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here. Stop me if you've said this before. I can't raise my arms. I can't climb stairs. I can't even kneel down. Can't play with my kids, can't golf with my friends, or even get through a work day without exhausting joint pain. Well, how about we start celebrating what you can do? That's what patients at QC Kinetics are doing. They're not dealing with the pain, they're living their lives. QC Kinetics and its game-changing regenerative treatments done right at their office means no surgery, no missing work, and no long recovery. The inflammation calms down and the pain backs off. You and I both know life is great, and it's time to start living it again without that joint pain. Call QC Kinetics today. Here's the number, 414-667-5559. That's 414-667-5559. Schedule your free consultation. They'll even meet you on a Saturday. QC Kinetics, 414-667-5559. Call QC Kinetics today.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Brewers completed a road sweep on Sunday. Milwaukee scored 7 runs in the 6th inning to cruise to a 12-4 win over the Colorado Rockies. Brewers continue their road trip tonight against the A's. Packers are nearing the end of their offseason program. Green Bay will host a 3-day mandatory minicamp Tuesday through Thursday. Team has one more week of voluntary OTA scheduled before breaking until training camp later this summer. Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Time Saver. Traffic, just a disabled vehicle off on the right shoulder, I-43 north at the 40.
Traffic is sponsored by the Amazing Mineshaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford.
Your Father's Day all-you-can-eat buffet is under $20 at the Mineshaft Family Restaurant in Hartford and Oshkosh. Kids under 3, eat free. Google and reserve today. It's the Mineshaft.
Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Stormy forecast. Rain likely today. Could be heavy at times. High today 78. Chance of storms tonight, low 63. Chance of storms tomorrow with a high of 84. Even hotter on Wednesday. Storm chances early and late in the day. Wednesday's high 92. Rain and storms likely Thursday, 91 for the high. Partly cloudy and 85 on Friday. The chance of showers again on Saturday, high of 84. 71 in Madison and Green Bay, 69 now in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
The work week is here. Let's begin with your Monday market preview with Annex Wealth Management Chief Economic Strategist, Dr. Brian Jacobson on Point Taken.
Dr. Brian Jacobson, 2 weeks in a row. How you doing this morning?
Fantastic. Yeah, this is a real treat for me.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's get right into it. I think I sent you over some topics for this morning, plenty to talk about. And yesterday marked 100 days since the war in Iran started. And I read this. So with oil prices right now, they actually are lower than a recent high, right? So we've come down a little bit. And despite the fact that the war is still going on, on and off ceasefire negotiations, what actually made prices come down a little bit?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of different moving pieces here. So we know that the Strait of Hormuz, where that was really kind of the choke point for about 14, some estimates are 14 million, others are 20 million barrels per day on average going through there. And all of a sudden it's like, well, you've got a big conflict and that's going to stop the traffic going through there. Well, it hasn't completely stopped it. It appears as though that there are some ships that are still navigating through, kind of, I guess, they're willing to keep on their headlights and keep plowing through. There's others that are turning off their lights and actually continuing to move through. So you have what's sometimes called the dark fleet. They don't turn on their transponders. We can't really quantify how many of those vessels are making it through, but there are some reports of that. We also had a very large response from governments. In the United States, we have the Strategic Petroleum Reserve that had, before this conflict began, about 410 million barrels of oil in it. Well, we've drawn that down. Now it's closer to about 350, 360 million barrels. So kind of releasing some of those reserves. It wasn't just the United States. It was other governments doing the same thing. They've been able to divert oil. Instead of going on vessels, there are some pipelines that they can go from one coast to the other. So kind of this diversion. Also, China has been really big in terms of, over the last few years, building up their kind of like their precautionary balance, their rainy day fund of oil. And as a result, they have really just pumped the brakes as far as what they need to import. So it's almost as though China had been preparing for this in terms of building up their inventory. And then others are just kind of adapting to this new reality of a low flow through the Strait of Hormuz there.
Actually, and that's actually, I haven't seen any more recent headlines about some of the other countries and how they're dealing with this. Because obviously for us, the prices are high. There's certain countries that were just like running out of oil. Wasn't Australia at one point saying like we have like 30 days left of oil? So how are other countries handling this right now? And is anyone really up against the ropes?
Well, there are, like Cuba, for example. But Cuba was separate from this, right? That was because they were getting their oil from Venezuela, and now they're completely cut off. But you had the Philippines and Sri Lanka. They have told everybody go to a 4-day work week. Also encouraging people to work remotely when they can, so they're beginning to ration oil. In Australia, you're absolutely right. They said that they only had about 30 days inventory, and so people just decided that, you know what, we're going to cut back. So when you get the prices rising, you're going to see people changing their behavior, and we've even seen that in the United States. It's the New York Federal Reserve has looked at some of the data for the month of March. So that was kind of the first shock that we had with oil prices. Those people making $50,000 a year or less reported that on average, they were driving about 7% fewer miles that month. Those people making more than $125,000, they didn't really change their behavior all that much. But yeah, the higher prices just began making people cut back. You've also seen lots of flight cancellations. Some of those routes going from, especially within Europe, some of the international routes, the airline said, hey, with the price of jet fuel where it is, we can't really run this route profitably. And as a result, they just cancel the flight. So there's been a lot of behavioral changes going on.
Is there anything else you're watching or is important to note as we pass this 100-day mark?
I think the key thing is, like, when is this finally going to end? And in a way, I kind of feel like President Trump maybe feels the same way, as when can I get them to come to an agreement? When can I get Iran and Israel to stop having their conflict? We saw that this morning. In the early trading, so before U.S. markets opened, markets were down, and it looked like we were going to have another day of red on the screen here. And then when it was announced that President Trump contacted Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel, told him, hey, can you kind of, lay off? Can you maybe participate in the ceasefire here with Lebanon? And now it looks like maybe we can get to maybe this uncomfortable situation where at least there isn't the conflict and maybe we can get a negotiated truce.
All right. So moving on from that, IPO news. I had an ad this morning. I think it was in Morning Brew in their daily newsletter. There was an ad for the initial public offering of SpaceX. It's coming. We could see Elon Musk become a trillionaire this week. So what are you watching as we watch SpaceX hit the market?
That's right. Is it going to go to the moon or is it going to crash and burn? I think those are kind of the questions, right? And maybe we really don't know until it starts to trade. And there has been a lot of things unusual about this initial public offering. I mean, in terms of from a governance perspective, that even after they go public, Elon Musk is going to control, like 85% of the shares. So you have what we call a lot of key person risk here in terms of his vision. And that's where it really seems like he wants to get a very large retail following. Typically with initial public offerings, they do this road show where they go and talk to a bunch of institutional investors like pensions, endowments, mutual funds, and that's where they're going to raise the money. This, it seems like it's been more like a grassroots campaign, trying to get the retail public much more interested in participating. And some brokerage firms, they're really lowering their standards as far as what it takes to be able to maybe participate in it. Some of them that used to be you'd have to have like at least $100,000 in your account to at least indicate that you might want to participate. They've lowered it in some instances down to like $2,000. So it does seem like they're trying to maybe create a bit of a feeding frenzy for the first day of trading. And the first day of trading is supposed to be on Friday. So that'll be a really interesting one to see how that plays out.
Well, it is interesting because we had at home, we had this conversation because our broker was like, you can get in on like the early options. You probably know the terminology better than I do. But then if you do that, you have to stay in for 180 days, right? So it's the gamble of like, how is this going to play after the first week?
Yeah, for those individuals who are thinking that, hey, I want to get in at the offering price and then just flip it, that is a good way to be banned from participating in these in the future. I mean, brokerage firms, they make it very clear. If you are just going to flip this within, sometimes it's 15 days, sometimes it's 30, each one is going to have their own different standards. They're like, we want people are going to invest and not just gamble. And if your intention is to just see what all the hype is about and maybe flip it for a profit within a few days, you might not be able to participate in other initial public offerings going forward for a while.
Yeah. All right. He is Dr. Brian Jacobson, Chief Economic Strategist with Annex Wealth Management. I have a couple more questions as far as what you're going to be watching this week with the SpaceX IPO and what that indicates for Anthropic and some of these other IPOs that are going to be coming. And we'll also talk about some of the new information that we have. Jobs report was out and some more reports for Kevin Warsh to look at when it comes to interest rates. So we will talk to Dr. Brian Jacobson on the other side of this.
Everyone needs a plumber in their contacts list. And I've got yours, Vince Vitrano here. It's Horner Plumbing. We had a big job on the Vitrano home, needed to move the water hookups for the washer dryer and refrigerator, and we turned to the trusted experts for more than 50 years in Southeast Wisconsin, Horner Plumbing. CJ and Kaylee, they did a great job at the house. All the follow-up with Horner was amazing, great work, and outstanding customer service. Residential, commercial, and new construction, HornerPlumbing.com. Have it in your contact list because when it's a plumbing emergency, that is not the time you want to start your search. I've got your plumber. Full-service plumbing, water heater repairs and installs, drain cleaning, garbage disposals, bathroom and kitchen renovations. Full-service plumbing. Free quotes and upfront pricing means no surprises. You want a deal? Tell them Vinny sent you, and Horner Plumbing will knock $50 off that first service. Get started now at Horner Plumbing. That's HornerPlumbing.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzik. If you're trying to work, juggle life, and keep your dog happy at the same time, look, I get it. We're the same way. Thankfully, we found the Hounds and Tap for doggy daycare for our Greyhound Knight. It's been a game changer for us. He gets exercise, time to socialize with other dogs. We know Knight's in great hands at the Hounds and Tap. They even take care of his grooming during his visits or separate appointments. That's perfect for us. If you're like us and searching for top-tier services and a team you can trust, get connected at thehoundsandtap.com.
Hey, WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here, reminding you to subscribe to the Wisconsin's Morning News Podcast. We update it every day with every interview, every segment, every bit we do on the show.
Wait, we don't do bits on the show.
That's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Yowza. I'm going to release the Kraken.
Tell Mr. Speaker, I wish rainwater was beer.
All right, maybe we do some bits.
That's how we roll.
Be sure you subscribe to the Wisconsin's Morning News Podcast, presented by Tri-County Contracting.
Welcome back to Point Taken. Steve is out for the rest of the week. I am Kristen Bry. We're talking to Dr. Brian Jacobson, Chief Economic Strategist over at Annex Wealth Management. And so we were just talking about SpaceX IPO this week. What are you watching as this is kind of the first of potentially many of other IPOs, whether it's Anthropic or what else are we expecting to come pretty soon?
That's right. Yeah, this is almost just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe this is the iceberg, just given the valuation where it's at. But yeah, we have Anthropic coming up. We also have OpenAI that they're going to be likely filing their papers as well. And then a lot of other companies as well that maybe aren't quite the household names. But it does look as though for the balance of this year, it's almost like one after another artificial intelligence related IPOs. And I think that's a really interesting story when we look at the economic drivers about growth over the last few years. A lot of investment in data centers. And a lot of these companies, what they're really doing is to continue to expand, right? They need to finance this stuff. And sometimes you can finance it with the cash flow that you bring in. That's called like reinvesting, right? You get the cash flow in and then you make these other investments. You can issue debt. That creates a fixed obligation over time. Sometimes it's lower cost because you actually can get some tax write-offs for that when you're a business. And now they're issuing equity. So it's not just about like with SpaceX or Anthropic. Just last week, Alphabet, so the parent company for Google, and then it was also mentioned that Meta, the parent company for Facebook, they're going to be issuing equity as well. Now, keep in mind, if you're an existing investor in these companies and if they issue more stock, that dilutes, so it reduces your share of the overall size, kind of slice of the pie. So your hope is that by them doing this, they can grow the size of the overall pie. So you might get a smaller slice in terms of percentage, but hopefully the pie has grown big enough that you're happy with it. So it's going to be an interesting summer and fall when it comes to a lot of this equity that's being issued.
Well, and that's what was really interesting. I was listening to the podcast Pivot with Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway on Friday, and Scott Galloway was talking about this and how he thought it was a brilliant move from Alphabet and some of these existing companies to get a piece of the pie when they're a more secure bet than some of these newer companies. And so I thought that was really interesting as far as, because isn't there concern that there's not enough money? Like for all of these different things, it's like, is there enough market demand to be buying equity in these companies at the rate that they need them to be to continue to build the data centers?
Well, yeah, in order to help finance this, right? And it does feel like a bit of an arms race. That's one of the ways it's been described in the past. Is this going to be a winner-take-all situation where, Alphabet is building, you've also got Microsoft, you've got Meta, you've got Amazon. All these companies are building the data centers, and ultimately are some of them just going to, fail, or are they all going to succeed? Now, at the stage of investing that we've seen so far, there's been this big ramp up that I don't think we're at the point where there's excess capacity. That's when we start getting a little worried, is have they overbuilt? Now, they've gone from basically zero to this year, it's supposed to be like $700 billion worth of building, but that's actually not that large when you compare it to the overall size of the economy, the overall size of construction that has taken place. It's a big part of it, but it's gone from a very low base. So I'm not too worried about it so far. I'm just more interested in terms of pricing, because at what point is it where it's going to be too expensive to actually use some of these models? There's been plenty of reporting around businesses like Uber last week. They had said about how they blew through their artificial intelligence budget within the first 4 months of the year. So there's a little bit of a miss. It's like, are people spending a little bit too much on this? What's the ultimate payoff? And only time will tell.
Absolutely. All right, quickly before we let you go, I know last week we got on Friday the jobs report came out. Was it Friday? And then this week we're getting the consumer price index report and then the producer price index report. So make sense of all of this as far as the information that we're getting and what it's telling us.
Yeah, so the employment situation report was a lot better than expected. We've had 3 months in a row of really solid job gains. Now, that might sound like, hey, that's great news, because it is, but the market reacted kind of negatively, because what's good news for the economy can be bad news if it means that the Fed might decide that they're not going to continue to cut rates, they might pause, or they go in a reverse course. And that's where on Wednesday, when we get the inflation numbers, and we'll be doing an Instant Insight webinar here at Annex about that, is that we're going to really dissect that, because if the case is that you're at full employment, the labor market's doing well, and the real problem is inflation, that requires a particular policy response. That requires, at some point, probably hiking rates. So earlier in this year, it was like this balancing act. Is the Fed going to have to step in, cut rates to save the labor market? But now it's like, well, labor market's doing just fine. But obviously, it really depends on whose labor market. Is it your personal labor market? Because a lot of these macro numbers, remember, it's for the nationwide average. It's not for each individual.
Absolutely. All right, so that is a good plug. Instant Insight, inflation trends happening this Wednesday, June 10th at 9:30 Central Time with Dr. Brian Jacobson. Is there anyone else on that with you, or is it just you handling it all on your own?
Nope. Tom Parks, he's going to be joining. He's our 401k guy.
Perfect. So you got that. And then the following week on June 18th, my 40th birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., there is the Women in Wealth series, Saving the Family Cottage. So you can get all of this if you go click the events button on annexwealth.com. And for now, Brian Jacobson, maybe we'll see you again on Monday, 3 weeks in a row. But
that'd be great, a three-peat. Yes.
Three-peat. We love it. All right, Brian Jacobson, as always, thank you for your insight, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
All right, bye now. We'll come back after this with more Point Taken.
Hey, this is WTMJ's Steve Scavini for Annex Wealth Management. If retirement is on the horizon or already here, are you where you expected to be with your portfolio? Having a clear understanding of what you own, why you own it, and how much you're paying for it is critical to building confidence in your financial plan. Once your plan is in place, have you considered who will carry on your financial legacy? Annex Wealth Management can help implement strategies to support your plan with a focus on your goals. Reviewing your estate plan can provide clarity, security, and confidence in your family's financial and emotional future. Unlike firms that sell commission products, Annex Wealth Management acts as a fee-only fiduciary, always focused on your best interest. Their in-house team works across all areas of your financial life to provide coordinated guidance for your individual needs. Retirement planning, investment guidance, estate plans, and business and tax strategies all are done at Annex. You're invited to the Annex headquarters in Brookfield for Women in Wealth, Saving the Family Cottage, Thursday, June 18th from 6 to 8 p.m. And this event will help you learn ways of avoiding family conflict when multiple heirs share a vacation home. Space is limited. Click events at annexwealth.com. Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com. That's Annex Wealth Management.
Hi, this is Mike from Infinity Exteriors. Most contractors cut corners and disappear when there's a problem. Not us. Since 1997, we've completed over 60,000 projects, earned thousands of 5-star reviews, and were named 2025 Roofing Magazine Contractor of the Year. We set the standard for exterior remodeling, trusted by homeowners, proven every single day. We're excited to show you why choosing Infinity means peace of mind. Visit infinityexteriors.com to see why your neighbors trust Infinity.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Fruit store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 8 to 16-ounce selected varieties. Old Dutch Restaurant tortilla, crunch, ripple, or traditional potato chips, 2 for $5.50. Fresh 85% lean ground chuck, $4.99 a pound. Southern peaches, $2.49 a pound. 7 to 8-ounce selected varieties. Essential everyday shredded or chunk cheese, $1.79.
It's a long fly ball.
Every time I scan, what is happening?
A leaping grab at the wall.
Okay, fine, I'll play. Get a load of this watermelon. And here's the pitch.
Please wait for assistance.
Win Century Foods Ultimate Fan Experiences at Milwaukee baseball games. Throw out the first pitch, hold the ribbon for the Johnsonville famous sausage race, or watch batting practice from the field.
Ooh, what do I do?
Complete the entry form in Century's weekly ad and return to the store.
Oh, no, what happened here? Oh, self-checkout couldn't handle my heater. Here, I filled out my entry form. Gotta go. Have a great day. I'll go get the mop.
Enter by August 5th.
The leader in the dugout, the skipper, the man who riles up the crew with his words of inspiration.
You mean my old ass? Is that what you're saying?
Yep, that's our guy. Brewers manager Pat Murphy joins Wisconsin's Morning News every Tuesday at 8:45 for Brewers 360.
Say, hey, Sprout, you're on the team. Deal with it.
Brewers 360 is sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited, Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Cannon and Dunphy, and Ridgetop Exteriors.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristen Bry. Steve is, in his words, as I texted him yesterday, he's already devastatingly tan from his, he's on a Caribbean cruise right now. And so he will be back next Monday. So you got me all this week. We have Jake Curtis is actually going to be filling in on Wednesday with me, which I think will be really fun. Todd Alba will be here on Thursday. And then Joe and Bill will be back on Friday after having last Friday off. So full week. Mary Kuhnbench is going to be here tomorrow for the Mary fans who've been missing her. And so she's going to spend the first hour with us tomorrow. So lots of fun stuff coming up. I was going to talk about Pride, but I don't have enough time now. So we'll talk about Pride on the other side of the news. But I have to mention this because it makes me so happy. So there is a group of professional wrestlers and they're traveling to public libraries all around the country to promote literacy by, let's say, suplexing their way through story time. So the show is called Lucha Libre. And I think it is so much fun because if you think of, obviously, the more traditional Mexican wrestlers, what's the one that, Jazz, do you know the name of the ones that are always in Milwaukee? Is it Mucho Libre?
I don't think I've ever heard of these. I only know about
really?
the Crusher, who's
No, this
legend.
This is different than like WWE wrestling. This is the guys with the masks, and at a lot of Milwaukee events they'll have it. But this is specifically guys who are going around with those kind of traditional Mexican wrestling masks, but they're promoting literacy, which I think is very awesome.
I think there's like an old venue near my apartment that has their mask painted on them. I wonder if that's what that's.
So it's Lucha Libre, so this is Lucha Libro, which Libro obviously means book in Spanish. So very fun. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Pride, but first news.
News. I'm Chuck Sievertson. Iran and Israel say they have stopped attacks that reignited over the weekend. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge in Jerusalem.
After Iran's initial missile barrage late Sunday, President Trump getting on the phone with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Over the weekend, the president warning Israel not to retaliate against Iran.
Police are seeking 2 people in connection with a mass shooting over the weekend in Toledo, Ohio. 12 people injured. It was at the city's annual Old West End Festival, where hundreds come out to celebrate the beginning of summer. The New York Knicks watch party outside Madison Square Garden is not happening tonight for Game 3 of the NBA Final because President Trump is planning to attend the game, says the NYPD. An offshore magnitude 7.8 earthquake hit the southern Philippines today, killing at least 35 people, injuring at least 144 others, officials say. It also triggered some tidal waves that hit nearby coasts. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Connie Weber. One person under arrest after a shooting on Milwaukee's northwest side leaves a teenager injured. Police responded near 41st and Vera Avenue around 4:10 p.m. Sunday. 15-year-old victim went to the hospital. Large gathering on Milwaukee's south side Sunday night after crowds took over an intersection following the Puerto Rican festival. Videos on social media show vehicles performing stunts and revving engines near 12th and Mitchell while dozens of people gathered in the roadway. Police blocked off nearby streets and worked to clear the area, unknown if they arrested anybody or if anybody was hurt. Milwaukee Public Schools rolling out a new fleet of electric school buses. Superintendent Dr. Brenda Cassellius says the switch from diesel-powered buses will improve air quality around schools and save hundreds of thousands of dollars in fuel costs. MPS plans to roll out 150 electric school buses across the district over the next 3 years. Time for some news about your money with the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 74 points, 50,941. NASDAQ up 371, 26,081. S&P 500 up 55 at 7,438. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We have a new crash. This is going to be on the exit to 7 Mile Road from I-41 South. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Mostly cloudy, rain likely. Could be heavy at times today. High 78. Chance of storms overnight and into tomorrow. Overnight low 63. Tuesday's high 84. Chance of storms Wednesday as well. Otherwise hot and humid. High 92. Rain and storms likely Thursday. Hot and humid again. High 91. Partly cloudy and 85 on Friday. Then a chance of rain on Saturday. 84. 71 in Madison and Green Bay. 69 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited. WTMJ News Time, 11:33.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Many of us struggle to lose weight. I use Milwaukee Weight Loss to lose the weight I've wanted to lose for a long time. And the great thing is I've kept it off now for over a year. Lost 45 pounds last year, another almost 10 pounds this year with a goal of losing maybe 10 more. For a limited time, get $200 off of their summer special. Book your free consultation at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. I can do it. You can do it. We can all do it. Let's lose weight together. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
I'm very familiar with Gruber Law Offices because they're always out in the community.
Gruber Law Offices are known to be honest, hardworking.
They're always involved in our neighborhoods.
Gruber Law Offices make our community a better place.
They are the best. For nearly 40 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped people throughout Wisconsin. If you're injured, we're here to help. One call, that's all.
Wisconsin would not be the same without Gruber Law Offices.
Picture this, a perfect summer evening, great friends, and dinner on the patio overlooking a beautiful course. That's Racine Country Club. More than golf, it's a place to relax, gather, and belong. A new energy is here, and you're invited to experience it. From great food to unforgettable events, it's a lifestyle built around community. Whether it's a quick 9 after work, dinner with friends, or a weekend with family, Racine Country Club offers something for everyone, year-round. Discover what's new at Racine Country Club. Visit racinecountryclub.com.
I wasn't expecting to start the segment this way, but now that Jazz, you start this song, because we said we're going to talk about Pride, which I'm very excited. We had a very fun weekend at Pride. But does this song specifically now conjure up more Pride feelings or more Trump feelings? Has Trump stolen this song?
Did he?
Did you not?
I don't know. When
he
I
loves
first heard
this
this song, I hated it because I hated the YMCA going there as a kid. But no, I didn't know Trump was reappropriating it.
Trump loves this song, and it's like a lot of his dance moves is him dancing to this song. So I feel like he's co-opted it now, and so it's not just a Pride song anymore. People have very mixed feelings about it. Obviously, you don't. You didn't know.
You know what? I think there's a more relevant song I could play coming in the next break, but I need to vet
I would say,
first.
what was the? I was thinking about this as I was posting things to social media. Is there a Pride anthem this year? I feel like Pink Pony Club was a couple years back.
Oh, I think Pink Pony Club is always the anthem.
I know there's always going to be like that, and like some Lady Gaga songs. Freedom is always going to be up there. But was there a new one this year?
I don't keep track with pop music as much.
Okay.
I usually just listen to Laura Jane Grace, and she's a transgender icon, so that's anything by her is always going to be an anthem to me. So
all right, there you go.
The Chaperone too.
All right, well, yes, it was Milwaukee's Pride this weekend, and it was actually very fun because we always go to the we, as in my husband and I and Frankie, we always make sure that we go to the parade, which is on Sunday, and we had Heidi Dalibor on the show on Friday, who's on the parade's board, talking about all the fun that was happening there. But we ended up having Frankie go to my father-in-law's house on Saturday night. So Mike and I got to be childless and actually go to Pride Fest, which I haven't done in a couple years, at least not into the evening without my kid. And so it was as always, very fun, very joyful. The weather was perfect. And, it was funny because I was thinking about this as someone who's always, I've been going to Pride parades no matter what city I was living in since LA. So basically since the early aughts. And I was thinking about this as far as the idea of like, why do straight people go to Pride, or why do straight people support Pride? And beyond it being a very fun party where everyone feels included and it's fun and you see people expressing themselves how they want to express themselves. It's also, I thought of this analogy as far as, I also don't play for the Packers, but I'm still rooting for them to win. And so it feels like a very similar thing as far as I am rooting for all of my queer friends to win. And what's unfortunate is that we are, as a society, plateauing, if not backsliding, when it comes to support of the LGBTQ community. And it's interesting to me because I remember, I'm old enough to remember how quickly public sentiment on this topic, especially gay marriage, flipped overnight, right? Where it felt like in 2008, when Obama and Hillary Clinton were running for president, they were still both talking about, as Democrats, like civil unions and not gay marriage. And then by the end of Obama's second term in 2015, the Supreme Court, Obergefell came down and the Supreme Court had decided that that was the law of the land, and that like how quickly in 8 years, less than 8 years, public sentiment changed as far as just not caring, either not caring or supporting it and feeling like gay marriage was a right that people decided they should have. And it's interesting now to see, I think as of this came out last week, that Gallup had noticed the trends that after 2 decades of rising support for LGBTQ, attitudes had plateaued or backslide. So the approval of same-sex marriage and moral acceptance of gay and married and lesbian relations is down like 6 points from where its peak in 2022 and 2023. And it's still the majority, right? Like most Americans still favor legal same-sex marriages. That's at 65%. It's still getting chipped away a little bit. And like they point to Republicans largely being responsible for declining support. And I don't know if this is just a typical 2 steps forward, 1 step back when we talk about the arch of justice, and it's not always linear, but it is kind of disappointing. And I'd be interested to hear from some of our Republican listeners if you have shifted, if you felt like you've backslid yourself as far as LGBTQ community and the rights that they have and their struggle. If you're someone who feels like, quote unquote, it went too far, but to me, it's still incredibly important to show up as a straight person at these events because they still are a minority of the community that we live in and need as many people as possible cheering for them to demand their humanity. And so I love Pride. It is such a fun weekend. And who doesn't love a bunch of rainbows and stickers and great music and great dancing? And so it was very fun to partake. If you had fun this weekend, I'd love to hear your stories of what you enjoyed. There's also, Jazz, you probably know, what other Pride events across Wisconsin do we have? The Kenosha's is coming up soon?
Yes, I believe it's coming in July as well as Watertown's.
Okay. All right, there you go. So there are more opportunities to celebrate if you missed this weekend. All right, but when we come back, kind of talking about dating. Obviously, when you are someone who's gay, you're like, there's a litmus test, right? Like you need to be a certain gender for me to be attracted to you. But now there's all these dating apps for other litmus tests of, what you eat, what your political ideology is. And now if you are an anti-vaxxer or not. So I'd have a discussion as far as what deal breakers deserve their own dating apps and which ones don't, and how helpful are they actually. So stay with us on Point Taken.
With an ever-changing inventory, you never know what great bargains you're going to be able to find at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores. It makes shopping fun because the best finds are the ones you had no idea you'd even come across. And when they're at thrift store prices, it feels good. And it feels even better to know you're helping us help others. Shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul. You're gonna love it all when you shop at St. Vincent de Paul. Old things, new things here for you. We're always changing, we're always new. So many friendly people, smiles from wall to wall. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul. You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Scavini. Celebrate active aging at the Enjoy Life Symposium. Join Capri Communities and adults 55 plus for a free high-energy day at the Enjoy Life Acting Aging Symposium. Live entertainment, a senior fashion show, and speakers like, get this, Melinda Myers and Chef Michael Fecker, the Ukuladies, and Milwaukee's Dancing Grannies. Capri Communities brings it all together for one unforgettable day, Wednesday, June 10th at Elmbrook Church in Brookfield. Register now at EnjoyLifeSymposium.com, and you'll be entered to win a Green Bay game day experience. That's EnjoyLifeSymposium.com.
I'm Matt Dorner, CEO of Milwaukee Downtown Bid 21. Our business leaders value downtown Milwaukee.
I'm Paul Sternlieb, CEO of Enerpac Tool Group. We moved our headquarters to downtown Milwaukee earlier this year, and we love it. Downtown has such a vibrant atmosphere. Our dynamic new workplace here will help us expand our business and attract and retain world-class talent.
Get down to business at MilwaukeeDowntown.com.
Mark Olson here. Now is the time to declare your independence from the outdated kitchen during the Redo Cabinets 4th of July event. Redo Cabinets, where hundreds of homeowners have discovered the benefits of refacing old kitchen cabinets, celebrates America's 250th birthday. Redo Cabinets, where you'll find premium cabinet facings made here in the USA, and you could choose from dozens of colors, various hardware, and accessory selections. During the Redo Cabinets 4th of July celebration, get $1,776 off your entire cabinet project and a free backsplash, and no payments for 12 months. That's right, no payments until 2027. Incredible savings. Call us today for a free, no obligation consultation. Redo Cabinets, 414-677-6417. That's 414-677-6417. Or visit us online at redocabinets.com. Don't replace it, redo it with Redo Cabinets.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting WTMJ.com/contests. That's WTMJ.com/contests.
Welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristen Bry. Steve is out for the week. He will be back next Monday, and still a big week of shows. Lots of fun guests. So we hope you'll be here every day to listen in with us. And so I think I've talked about this before, but my husband and I met on a dating app, as many people do these days. We met on Hinge, and the funny story there is that I had signed up for Hinge before I had officially moved to Milwaukee back in 2020. I was still living at my parents' house in Wisconsin Rapids, and I had decided that I was going to move to Milwaukee and not go back to LA. And I wanted to, full disclosure, kind of check out the dating scene and see what the guys were like in Milwaukee before I got here, and happened to match with my husband, my now husband, before I moved. And so he nicely asked, he's like, "Can I take you out?" And I was like, "Well, I don't actually live in Milwaukee yet." And to his credit, we continued to talk up until me actually moving here. And then, as they say, the rest is history. But I am very pro dating app. I think there is parts of dating apps that have introduced different struggles to dating as far as just kind of the endless swiping. And we're starting to see the backlash to that. But it still is, it's a way to get yourself out there. And my first dating app was back in 2013 when Tinder had first come out, and I was single in San Francisco. And so it certainly has revolutionized how we date. And certainly there's a lot of people now who have met their spouse or their current partner on a dating app. But what's funny is also there is now all of these spin-offs of these apps that create their own groups. And I think the purpose of them is typically to, if you have a deal breaker, if you want to find someone who is this thing and don't want to have to be in the bigger dating pool of sifting through people who may or may not be a part of that group, there's a place for you. So what are these different apps include? So there's one called Veggly, I think is how you pronounce it, Veggly. So it's for vegan and vegetarian dating. There's one called Dig, apparently, for dog people, and it matches based on dog ownership and lifestyle. There's a similar one for Tabby, which is for cat people. There's one for single parents called Stir, or Frollo is another single parent one. Farmers D, which is, as you imagine, is for farmers and ranchers. And I think there's J-Swipe, which there was originally J-Date. I think that was before it was maybe just an app. Chispa, which is the Latino dating app. So there's all these different ones that if you are specifically looking for this type of person, no matter what, you can sign up for these apps and meet that kind of person and not have the rigmarole of having to figure it out after you've matched. But now Wired had an article out this morning that I found specifically for anti-vax dating apps, which I guess makes sense. If you are very adamant about being anti-vax and you only want to date someone who is anti-vax, it makes sense as it being its own dating app. Because I'm not sure on a normal Hinge where all are welcome type dating app, or Tinder or Bumble, if you put directly in your profile, "I am anti-vax," what conversation maybe that stirs up. But I also just want to, the names for these apps are also, they're pretty funny. So there's more than one, which I think is interesting. But one is called Unjected. There's one called pureblood.dating. There's Unjabbed. No Vax Singles. And then Unjuiced to Date. I didn't know Juiced was I've never heard of that one as far as it being related to vaccines. But I don't know. I mean, this obviously the Wired article was a little critical because they're also doing these meetups. But I don't think this is a bad thing as far as if this is something that is like really important to you. And like I said, I hear the conversations of my friends who are still on dating apps of as far as what they're trying to decipher from profiles as far as their political leanings, how they feel about vaccinations and stuff. And so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to kind of create your own groups and if that's going to be really important to you in the dating scene. And the only, I don't know, devil's advocate that I see with it is that's like the continuation of sorting ourselves and making, our hobbies, not that anti-vax is a hobby, but it's just like being so committed to these different things that are baked into our identity that you continue to make your circle or your dating choices smaller and smaller because you have such a high bar for all of the criteria they need to make or need to be part of. And I think that's the biggest thing that I was thinking about as far as what these dating apps and these communities of anti-vax people, because it brings up the conversation about autonomy and all of these different things and your kids. But I guess if you're both anti-vax, it becomes a much easier conversation if you do have kids. But I don't know. I would be interested to see if other people think this is a limitation on dating by having these smaller, more insular groups based on certain criteria, or if it's a really good thing. But it was just something that I thought was interesting as far as modern dating. So, all right, when we come back, we will wrap up today's show. So stay with us on Point Taken.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scafidi. Sound familiar? I can't raise my arms. I can't climb stairs. I can't kneel down, which means I can't play with the kids, golf with the guys, or get through a workday without exhausting pain. I'm here to celebrate what you can do, and that's exactly what QC Kinetics patients are doing, not bracing for the next jolt of pain. It's gone. They've moved on. Back to living your lives. You've heard me talk about Dr. Caravelli and her team at QC Kinetics, and so many of you have been through their game-changing regenerative treatments done right in the office, no missing work, no surgery, no long recovery. The inflammation calms down, the pain backs off, and we love hearing from you. How we here at WTMJ helped you dig out from under that long list of can'ts and get back to living your best life. So go find out what you can do. It's a good life out there, folks. Go live it to the fullest. Let's get rid of that pain starting now. The consultation is totally free to see if you're a good candidate. Weekend appointments available. 414-667-5559. That's 414-667-5559. Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics now.
Wet basements and foundation problems? For over 20 years, Accurate has been the Fix-It Show's trusted experts in foundation repair and waterproofing. Whether it's cracked walls, drain tile issues, or water in your basement, they've got you covered. Don't wait until the problem gets worse. Call Accurate Basement Repair today at 414-744-6900 or visit AccurateBasementRepair.com. They're not just good, they're accurate.
Here's to sweet summer days together with friends and family in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment.
Hey, Mom, over here.
And to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder.
Wow.
Here's to supper club celebrations and dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin. Plan your summer getaway at travelwisconsin.com.
A buck doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee and Waukesha. Griffin. The buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Get started with your no-hassle refi checkup by clicking on the blue button at Accunet.com.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
The Milwaukee County Transit System is now projecting a roughly $400,000 surplus this year, despite continued concerns for the system's financial future.
Bringing you the latest in news, sports, traffic, and weather.
Support for term limits on Supreme Court justices remains strong nationwide. A new Marquette Law poll finds majority of Americans favor fixed terms for members of the nation's highest court.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m. WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I want to break free. I want to break free. I want to break free from your lies. You're so self-satisfied.
It's a good one. Best music. That's what I'm saying. The best music is at Pride. I love that someone called in. What was it, Richard?
Richard in Illinois, yep. He
Richard in
calls a lot,
Illinois
especially
called
during
in.
the Friday show.
Yeah, called in and said, I am too young to be using the word rigmarole, which is fair. At least I don't say Katie bar the door as often as Todd and Steve do. What's another one that Steve said? Steve said something else recently that I was like, I do not know this reference, but I like the word rigmarole. It's fun to say. It might be an old person's word, but who cares? It's a fun word to say, and I don't know if there's a good synonym to replace it as far as the, the obstacles and the challenges of getting something done. Rigmarole is way more fun to say than that. All right. Well, we had a very fun show today. Great to have Matt here for a full hour. Great to talk to Brian about all the happenings in the market this week. And so coming up tomorrow for all of the Judge Mary fans, she hasn't been here in a while. And so she's coming back for a full hour tomorrow to talk about, I think we have some Hannah Dugan updates, some Supreme Court stuff that's coming out. So plenty to talk about with her. And then we also have a upcoming event that I'm actually going to be moderating at the end of this month about high-speed rail in Wisconsin. And I know this is one of those topics that I think a lot of people get passionate about. I obviously was not living in Wisconsin when the Walker train between Madison and Milwaukee event occurred and our lack of a train. But there's an event coming up at the end of the month talking about what it would take to get high-speed rail in Wisconsin. And you probably can guess, because I'm moderating the event, where I land on the issue. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow with a guest ahead of the event. And then later this week, we got Jake Curtis, we got Todd Alba, we got Joe and Bill. Plenty happening. But thank you for listening today. We will be back tomorrow, and news is next.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into